is, for the first time in 5 years, a quiet day in the town of Paradise. Not a single musician is playing. Not a single bird is singing. It is as if the world is holding its breath. And one gambler is unfortunately very familiar with this feeling. After all, yesterday was practically the perfect day, which is never a good thing when it comes to him, but there was just one thing about it. Something that hasn't happened in 5 years. A string on his guitar snapped when he tried to play. And funny enough, the same thing happens when he picks it up again today. But this time it's less accidental because a old friend has come to visit him. Someone he thought he cast aside, but he knows it was for good reason now, because there's other familiar faces with that old friend, and there is harsh words exchanged and mention of a reckoning that is due for a deal gone wrong, and knowledge of a very explosive habit. And this time there is no one for Jubilee to run to, no one to cry wolf to. And as he faces down what he knew would be his fate, come far too soon than he was ever prepared for, I welcome you all to the game Golden Afternoon. Hello, dear listeners. I am Noodle or Pasta or Udon or whichever variation thereof you would like to refer to me as. And I am joined today by the wonderful...
Hello, greetings and salutations. My name is WhirlwindGale, otherwise known as Gale or Whirl, take your pick. I personally prefer Gale, but that's honestly a matter of preference. How are you all doing today?
Probably better than our characters, let's be honest.
Oh, hush, they're going to be having a great time. Everything's
Mhm.
fine. Probably.
Yeah, but shall we get started properly now?
Hmm. Absolutely. I guess I'll start by painting you a word picture.
Mhm.
A picture of a train station in the warm oranges, reds, and golds of the golden hour, perpetually caught in this moment between sunrise and sunset. There are tall pillars engraved with imagery of gears and of geometric shapes and of gemstones. There are planters full of flowers, dead but not withered, just barely wilted enough to be soft to the touch. There's a fountain in the corners, in each of the corners, that is, and one in the middle of the room, all of them seemingly babbling the same soundtrack, over and over and over again, looping endlessly. There's a ticket booth with no one to man it. There's a board announcing comings and goings. Every once in a while, a silver train will rocket past on the tracks, not bothering to stop. They never stop here. There are benches and there are posters on the walls for not movies, not plays, but events in history, things that have happened, are happening, will happen. The floor is crisscrossed with a pattern like tangled string, like a river branching far too many times and looping back into itself. Through one window streams sunlight, an impossibility in this place, but it illuminates the entire room, landing mainly on a clock that is the only one that ticks in this place. The train station is empty. There is no one here except for one person who maybe shouldn't be. And then the clock
Mm.
rings.
And I think at that point, Jubilee sits up with a start and desperately like grabs his chest and looks around in a panic like this, half about to scream something, but his voice catches in his throat as he sees where he is and stops and blinks his eyes a few times and takes off his glasses for a minute and like rubs him on his coat, but ugh, there's soot all over his coat. Oh, that won't help. Oh well. And puts them back on and looks around again and well, this isn't where I thought I'd wind up. This is a little nicer than I thought it would be. This was. What is this? And he stands up and a little shaky, but he's in one piece. That's good, probably. Yeah, good. He'll assume good and start to wander around, maybe take a look at the ticket booth, and his steps echo in the space, and its fountains sound keeps almost looping. That's weird. This is no place he's been before, but assuming what he is, yeah, this isn't what he thought the afterlife would be like. That's odd. Just starts looking around like, hello? Hello? Is anyone here?
Hello.
What? Huh?
The voice comes from somewhere behind him.
He jolts and turns around and almost like he was gonna reach for his hammer space, but then realizes, what? That wouldn't work here, would it? Maybe? No.
And standing behind him is a relatively short Toon woman with curly blonde hair, a, shall we say, rather generous figure, um, and a wide smile and golden eyes. Her hands are rested on her hips. Her outfit is somewhat steampunk-ish. She's got a top hat on her head, and in one hand, and she's got what looks like the hour hand of a clock, but way oversized. And she's kind of looking him up and down and just saying, "You are not supposed to be here."
Oh. Hmm. Well, yeah, I did assume as much. This is a bit nicer than I was expecting.
But
Um,
no, not for that reason.
huh.
God. You you living folk, you're always so morose. No, 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 no. I mean,
Living. What? How? I don't. um, I don't exactly know who you are.
Lady Retrospect of
Pardon.
Memory Lane, pleased to meet you, etc. I'm a friend of your mom's.
Well, he's gonna roll something, but I'm pretty sure she can. Knowing this is a god, um, he's
What
still
was
gonna
that?
try.
Was that
That's a
deception?
deception to see how well he keeps his poker face.
Let's
Um,
see. Do you want to see just what her insight modifier is? Do you really want to see it?
yeah, why not? Let's go. Let's see. Let's roll against a god. Yeah, no. No, he is for all that would be pretty good for a gambler. Uh, Against a god, that's nothing, and he is very clearly surprised by the fact that, for one, you know his mom, but given who his mom is, that means one thing, but that you know that she is his mother is a whole other thing.
And that smile of hers kind of quirks up on one side, and she, like, cocks her head and sort of shifts her weight a bit and says, honestly, that look on your face will take you far in the living room, but don't try to lie to me, kid. It doesn't work. Anyway, she comes in here all aflap a couple minutes ago talking about how her kiddo's been taken way before his time, and of course I check your timeline because that's my job, and sure enough, you're not supposed to be here yet. Eventually, sure, but now? Nah, not so much. Your story's nowhere near over. It's just beginning.
Oh no. No, 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 no. That can't be right. No.
Hmm?
No. No, this is supposed to be curtains closed. The bad guy's gone. It's over. It's done. I'm done. The villain is defeated. I I can't go back again. That would mean that something else has to happen. I pardon, I suppose. I I try to be more respectful, but assuming I I I can't go back. Uh, please don't make me go back. Please, I can't do something worse. I can't. If I go back, that means that it's not done. That I'm going to do something worse. Oh,
Orpheus, breathe.
huh?
Breathe. Deep breath in. Come on.
Okay, okay, okay. Sure. All right.
All right.
Oh,
You got your head on straight again?
as much as it's ever been.
All right. 2 questions. 1. What did you do that's so heinous that you think that this deserves to be your ending?
He stops for a minute and rubs at the patched sleeve of his coat and mulls it over, clearly looking like he wants to lie about it, but he knows better. He obviously knows better. And because I couldn't be his son. I couldn't I'm supposed to be the good guy. The hero. I mean, if you know Mom, then you know probably who my dad is and his reputation. And I mean, I've kind of been a fuck up. Pardon the language.
So?
I
That's
I
not exactly what one would call cause for it to be righteous or good storytelling. For someone to get, what was it, betrayed by someone you thought you could trust and murdered?
a bit. I mean, they I couldn't stop them either, and I mean I couldn't stop those guys the first time they came to town. And he didn't believe me when I said they were bad. So I and then instead of, trying to do something, I mean a hero a good person would have stuck around and tried to do something instead of running away. And then, and I mean I've never been good at anything like being a hero. I mean I'm good at stealing and lying and gambling and cheating people out of their life savings and leaving them destitute and
So?
conning them out of everything.
So
Oh,
what?
and
That's how plenty of heroes start. Not everyone starts as the perfect paragon of virtue, kid. I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm a mostly benevolent deity. Do you know how many people I've fucking ripped out of reality? It's a lot.
mm, I
Being
mean,
a good person, being a hero, being benevolent and good intentioned doesn't mean that from the word go you have to be perfectly brave and poised and stalwart in the face of danger and all that shit. Yeah, you screwed up. You screwed up real good and you got yourself ganked for it, kid. And she kind of reaches forward and taps against his chest.
He steps back, like, ugh, unused to anyone actually, reaching out at him. Just, I, I, but I'm not. I mean, I clearly done terrible things. I've hurt people, people who didn't deserve it. That kid, I left that kid behind. He probably hates me. No, he did. I mean, he hates me. And I just, I have, how, look, I appreciate the pep talk, but, I mean, oh shit, this is kind of, I, I feel this is kind of a fitting end for me.
Yeah, well, tough titties, sweetheart. Your mom doesn't agree. And I made a deal, and she made a
What?
deal. And that means you gotta throw yourself at the wall one more time.
Uh, oh, um, mm, he is very confused. Genuinely, for all he tries to keep a straight face and for all he is used to not letting things show, he is struck dumb by that, by the fact that someone would want him to try again. Even, yes, it's his mom, but he doesn't know what to do with that. And he splutters several times before just I well, so then what happens? I get thrown back out to the wolves. I mean, I'm not I know that she could bring me back another time, but I mean, I'm not excited. I'm still just me.
You're you, she's her, I'm me. Everyone's just themselves. I don't see why that needs stating. But she asked me to make you a deal. See, my domain here, this is a small part of it, of course, but mine is memories, in a sense. That's the simplest way of putting it, but I'm also a piece of the story. I'm a piece of the way stories are handled. When things end, when things are finished, they come to me, which is why I said you shouldn't be here. Because you're not finished yet. But sometimes I take things before they're finished. And, well, let's call me an editor. I fix them up a bit, send them on the right path. People, most often, sometimes objects, sometimes whole timelines if I have to. God, there have been a couple timelines that I've had to straight up quarantine from the rest of them just to avoid them leaking bad into them. Ugh, it's a nightmare. So disgusting. Anyway.
Yeah, that does sound bad.
Oh, it's terrible. Goodness. You have no idea how tricky it is keeping everyone's personal timelines on the straight and narrow. Of course, I can't do everything myself, so, I gotta get the others involved, and that's why the whole Celestial Knitting Club thing is a thing, but anyway, I'm partially responsible for things like second chances. I think that's the main one that everyone forgets about me, is that I'm the goddess of second chances. So, oftentimes, when I do my editing, when I do my tailoring of the timeline, a couple tucks here, a couple snips here, etc., etc., I'll take someone focal to that timeline and I'll say, hey, so here's the fucking deal. You give me something I need, and I will give you a second chance at... And she kind of loosely waves her hand in a circle and says, well, everything. You're not getting that kind of deal, though. Because, quite frankly, you've got too much going on for me to think it would be at all conducive to anything sane, especially not the golden timeline, if you were to forget everything. That would be stupid. That would be supremely fucking stupid. That would erase 90% of your character development, and that would just be a nightmare.
He, the moment she says forgetting people, he does grab at his, close to the collar of his sweater. And do you want to roll perception, given she probably can already see it?
Her passive perception is a 41, but you know
Yeah,
what? I will happily roll perception.
just for the fun of it, because why not? We like to see big numbers.
Big numbers are great.
Yeah, yeah, big numbers are good. Yeah, that, it probably got shifted a little, but there is definitely a chain to a locket that is around his neck that he holds very tightly at the mention of potentially forgetting.
And she kind of nods and points at it and says, "Yeah, that's the one. I can't be taking that away from you because that would ruin some shit. And we don't like ruining shit here."
No, there's been enough taken from Ace. I wouldn't. No offense, I do think I would probably try and fight a god. However stupid that may be, but
Yeah, please don't try to fight me. The last people who did, they nearly killed me in my own domain, which, like, granted, I would have come back, but it fucking hurt, and I'm not ready to deal with more mortal bullshit yet. I'm tired.
Yeah, I don't count myself especially powerful, so I'd probably get the floor wiped with me. I'm not going to try that. I'll admit I'm a bit of a dumbass, but I'm not stupid.
I like you. Anyway.
That is a compliment.
The deal I'm offering you isn't my usual. Actually, it's something I've only offered the, what, 3 people? 4? 4, maybe.
Oh.
In the entire time I've been alive. And I've been around since the first person. So, you know I'm old. I'm old as dirt.
Oddly look it.
Oh no, I know. I hardly look my age. Honestly, my sister carries it worse than I do. Which makes sense. She's older than me. She's fucking ancient. She was here before any of us. God fucking damn it, Prismatone. Anyway.
Go on. Sorry.
Sorry. I get distracted easily. What was I saying? Anyway, deals.
Deals, yes.
She's just I should note, like, she's just kind of wandering in circles as she's talking to Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has probably led him in a slow circuit around the train station, and now is just kind of looping around a planter. She doesn't seem to like staying still.
He is pretty much the same. He doesn't mind it. Even when they started talking, he would have immediately started pacing as he got worked up, but actually moving around is it actually helps. He doesn't look so frantic or stressed if they actually have a bit of a path to follow.
And she's just kind of been leading him around on some random path through the train station, just occasionally going around in circles. And now you guys are at sort of the edge where the platform to get onto the train is, and she kind of like flops down on the side of the platform and dangles her legs off the side and pats the ground next to her for him to sit.
He will, a little slower, almost expecting like sitting down would hurt, but no, he's fine. He's getting used to this a little bit.
And for a long moment, there is quiet. Another one of those silver trains whistles past. And Retro She tilts her head back. She's not looking at Jubilee now. She's looking at what little pocket of the sky you can see through the empty roof of the train platform.
Mhm.
And it's not a sky you've ever seen before. What look to at first be clouds are bronze gears miles overhead, and what look to be stars you can see are tiny, faraway light bulbs hung from strings hanging from seemingly nowhere. And for a moment there's
Jubilee.
quiet, and then she
He looks
looks.
up, and Jubilee, too, for all there's quiet, he does wind up fidgeting a bit, not out of, it seems like he's calmed down a fair bit, but even as he does, he starts tapping out a rhythm, clicking his nails on the tile beside them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
And she kind of smiles and says, "Oh, that one's going to be a good one. All right. So you had something taken from you a long time ago, and it screwed you up something awful. Am I right?"
He winces and sighs and leans forward to rest his elbows on his knees, so stretching out his back a bit, and the cut, stitched lines in his design stretching with him as he does. And yeah, I mean, I figure probably messed Raven up a bit too.
Oh, absolutely. He didn't know how to handle himself after that, did he? But she kind of waves her hand, and Jubilee, there's the faint smell of rain and butterscotch and burning film as around you an illusion materializes, seemingly burning itself into reality as a glowing outline in bright white of your wings appears.
He sits bolt upright at that and looks back and, like, do the wings move as if they were attached to him?
They do.
Yeah, those wings immediately rustle up and flap in surprise and as if they are an open book to his emotions, and he is surprised and startled and awed, and he reaches out for that outline like he's scared that if he touches it, it will immediately shatter again.
It radiates warmth, almost an uncomfortable warmth, almost a burning heat, but it doesn't hurt you to touch it. Your fingers phase through the outline. It's not real, but the notion strikes you of potential, of opportunity, of return. And Retrospect is looking at you now, and she says, "That's what I'm offering. You give me a good story. I send you back, and you do your best to do better. In return, I give you your wings back."
I. What do you mean by a good story? I am. He. He still. He can't. He tries to look away from his wings like he's trying. Like he wants to, show respect and properly address you, but he cannot look away. And I I don't have very many good stories to give.
You got a lot more than you think, and you've got a lot of potential. You've met a couple people, haven't you? And there's another wave of her hand, and in the air in front of you, that burning effect happens again and shimmers, and she holds out a hand, and a glass bubble drops into it, and it's full of sand, and she shakes the bubble up, And inside, you see the people you've met over the last couple months, days, the people who didn't automatically hate you, the people who, for better or worse, made you try to do better.
Yeah. He sees, well, he definitely sees the crew from that adventure with the book, for one. Sees Arya and Karis and Philip and Dakota and the pages, and he his face drops a little as he is surprised by that, and then it shifts and it shows someone who he immediately laughs at seeing because it's a very short little redheaded detective uh, who annoyed him very much, but he saw unfortunately too much of himself in that kid, and then more recently a scene in a cafe with a barista, good kid who got into a bit too much trouble. And again, just echoes, Jubilee seeing too many echoes of himself in these people that, well, of anybody, Retro, this guy cares far too much and far too easily, much to his chagrin.
You've got an open heart problem. You attach yourself to people real quick. But that's good. I say it's a problem, but it's something that honestly I envy you for. We
Mhm.
can't gods like me, we can't do stuff like that. We can't attach to other people. Otherwise, we'd be constantly miserable. You have no idea how fast your lives go by in our eyes. But these people, and she taps one finger against the glass bubble where she's sort of still holding it aloft. These people, they wouldn't want you gone. And they are going to be very happy to have you back if, well, let's just say you're going to be gone long enough to appear in the obituaries.
Yeah,
So if they read the
I
news,
they oh 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 that's not gonna look good, is it? Oh no. Oh God, paradise. Oh, that town. Oh, that's probably gonna be gone. Oh, oh, that looks bad. That looks really bad.
hmm, yeah, but hey, darkest hour. Perfect point to start a redemption.
Nowhere left to go but up.
Exactly. Can't get much further down than in the grave.
Hmm. I yeah, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. I suppose it's high time I put down the shovel and stop digging.
Please, for the love of God, kid, stop digging.
Yeah, I don't think I want to find out if there's a void beneath my feet. I think this is far enough.
I think so too. So, like I said, a good story. You do your best. You try to do better. You make some friends. You do some good things. You leave a mark on the world besides the one you were scared of having. You put aside whatever you've drilled into your own brain about how you're some irredeemable villain, and you say, you know what? Fuck that. My story now. My story, and I'm gonna make what I want of it. If you want to be a good person, if you want to be a good hero, a good friend, a good brother, family member, son, whatever you want, a good partner, who cares? You choose what that means for you. You choose what a good story where you are doing your best, working towards your goals, working towards making your life better, you decide what all of that means to you. And as you work towards it, and she reaches over and taps the glowing outline of his wings, and he can actually feel that tap through the illusory feathers.
He sits
Uh,
a little straighter in surprise, and
then, over time, these will grow back.
I need. There's for a moment there is just all that wonder, and he stretches his wings out, and his face falls for a minute. What if I fall again? I mean, not like this. I certainly hope not like this.
Oh,
But
goodness, no. You're not allowed back at this station until you're done. Like, done, done. Like, no. Like,
I mean,
curtains closed.
yeah, but I I tried to do something like this before, and I screwed up, and I fell on my face um, a lot. If if that happens again, um, even though I even if I'm trying my best, if what what happens then? Did I fail?
Kid, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone screws up. Everyone makes poor judgments, poor planning choices, poor, I don't know, poor bicycle pant decisions. Anyway, everyone screws up.
I feel like that one has a story.
I. You would be surprised how many timelines have been ruined by poor bicycle pant decisions. Then again, there are no good bicycle pant decisions. So I guess the
Mm.
invention of bicycle pants is just always a mistake.
Yeah, I I think so. I just a bit.
The invention of bicycle pants is just always a mistake. Anyway, everyone screws up. Everyone makes mistakes. I mean, Christ's sakes, the last time I was mortal, well, I would say the last time, but currently I'm busy being mortal, half of me out there somewhere. You might meet her. She's nice. Um,
Suppose I'll keep an eye out.
yeah. She won't know she's me, or she might. Depends on when you meet her. Anyway, um, everyone makes mistakes. Christ, the last time I was mortal, I murdered people. I killed my own husband, my own father, because I was scared to die. I killed my
Ugh.
best friend to experiment on his soul. I wasn't a good person. I screwed
Ugh.
up. But when I died, I still got the chance to come back here to be me again and get the chance to go back to being me and then pick myself up and try again with the next mortal life. Or, well, actually, I guess that one I kinda got killed into. It's fine. Rikishi's a bitch. Anyway,
Who?
Fate of Ruin. I never say their name
Ugh.
properly to their face. Just don't let them know that I said it.
No, I think it would be fun to insult them.
It's very fun. It is fucking hilarious. And she does just kind of have this gremlin laugh for a moment.
He's
But, point being, yeah, you might fall down again. You might screw up. You might make a misstep, a critical social faux pas. You might accidentally hurt someone. And as long as you don't use that as an excuse to never try again, that's fine. Progression is never fully linear. Progression is never. It's never a straight line. It's never. If you look at a river, you don't expect that river to go straight all the way to the ocean, do you? You expect
no.
that river to divert in places. Sometimes it pools, sometimes it doubles back on itself, sometimes it branches. People are like rivers in that way. They can't just go straight from point A to point B. as much as, I like you got Moxie Kid, I don't think you could go straight from where you were when you left off
Yeah.
to where you could be. You're going to have to build there, and it's not going to be linear. It's going to be squiggly and weird, and it's going to take a lot of effort, but it'll be worth it because you'll have worked all that much harder to get there. And you'll be able to look back and say, the mistakes that I made, they were mistakes, and I did them, and I felt bad about them. I probably do still feel a little bad about them. But I tried to make them better, and I did my best, and now I'm here.
Mm.
Mistakes aren't the end of the world. Bad decisions aren't the end of the world. Bad choices aren't the end of everything. You just gotta pick up and try again. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's like slamming your forehead against a brick wall and praying that the mortar cracks. But
He
it's worth
dragged the
it.
hand down his face a little bit and is thinking, considering things. He seems more open to the idea as you keep talking, and as the winding path was mentioned, he did look back at the station and the looping pattern along the floor and trace it a little bit, laughed quietly to himself. And he thinks, and do I have to start alone?
Hardly. I don't think you could. I think by the time you get back, once you're. And she kind of tosses that glass bubble between her hands again. Once your people realize you're back, I don't think they're gonna let you be. Dying and coming back, that tends to leave a mark, and people are gonna be worried about you. You're not gonna be alone for the first couple steps. There might be points when you wind up on your own, but you'll always find more people. You'll always find friends. Heck, you might even get to keep some of them if you don't
Hope
keep
so.
running away from them.
Ugh. Flinches a bit at that one. Yeah. I mean, beyond the story, beyond giving you a good story. I think just perhaps this is that open heart problem thing again, but you're just going to sit back and watch it like a play, like I'm on stage.
In a sense. Same way I watch everyone. It's more like a movie than a play nowadays. It used to be books. I'm really glad it's not books anymore. That library was getting really hard to manage.
Oof. Yeah, if there was a book for everyone, that would
There
be.
is a book. There was a book for everyone. The minute everyone was born, they would get a book, and that book would grow over their timeline. Sometimes people would get multiple volumes, and then if you wanted to trim their timeline, you had to go through and edit a fucking book. And she kind of like puts her head in her hands very dramatically for a moment, like, I am so glad that it's film now. It's so much easier to trim film than it is to edit a book. I'm not a good writer.
Hesitates a moment and then reaches out and pats her shoulder a little bit. Like, yeah, I could assume with all the books that would be oof, a task, even for a god.
Yeah, even for someone like me, it's just oof. And she kind of like leans back on her hands again. Like I said, I'm glad it's film now. Film is easier to work with. Thank God for what was it? I don't know, the two people in your world who created film. Those people were good.
No, I wouldn't know. I'm mostly too broke these days to go see movies.
Aw, that's a shame. I'll have to drop you off with some money in your pocket or something. Don't spend it all in one place.
I'll try not to. I'm notoriously bad with it.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have to set you up with an allowance or something.
I haven't had an allowance since I was 5.
She
Ugh.
kind of laughs.
Ugh. Well, I mean, even then, I did spend that at the floating market. I mean, well, either way, I am. If this is a thing, I mean, I suppose I have a little more time here. Need, thank you. It. I mean, I know words aren't always much, but I don't really have much to offer, but
Words are
that,
worth a lot more than you think they are. Words are underrated.
yeah, one of the few things I'm good with. But for for giving me a chance, it's thank you.
Of course. It's my job. It's literally what I'm made of.
Even if it is your job, don't always have to pick up some. And he looks down at himself. Even the wings settle open and relaxed, but he's still a bit of a hobo looking fella. Coat's all patched up and his
Yeah, we might
gloves are
need to
tattered.
fix that actually. Hang on. And she like reaches into her pocket and then realizes, oh wait, my pockets are too small. Anyway, snaps her fingers again. And there's
Oh,
that burning illusion in the air again. And then something drops into her lap. Uh, even gods can use hammer space. Um,
nice.
let's just check to make sure it's not a nat one. Yeah. So a box drops into her lap and she passes it over to him and says, here, I'm not having any of my warlocks looking like a hobo.
Oh, uh, oh, and he looks at the box and opens it.
Um, I don't know what the outfit looks like because I don't know if you've designed it yet,
I
but
do have art.
awesome. In
How is it just an outfit that's in the box, or
there's also a settled on top of all the fabric is a artfully engraved golden pocket watch, um, etched with a musical note and a pair of angel wings.
oh, he definitely picks that up carefully and runs his thumb along the engraving. This is this is probably one of the nicest things I've ever had.
Well, you're never gonna not have it now. And um, she kind of reaches over and taps it, and Jubilee, you notice something. Um, you can feel a heartbeat through the metal.
Interesting. Furrows his brows at that. Like clocks don't do that. That's not normal. That I'm a little worried about opening it now. Um, this is a clock, right? This is just a pocket watch. This isn't. I'm not going to open it, and there's going to be something weird in there.
Well, if you opened it now, you might. But by the time you get back, no, it'll just be a watch.
Okay. And he just sets it down on the box again, closes it up carefully.
She's just kind of giggling.
He's like, "Yeah, we're not gonna open that just yet." Mhm. So, I mean, I have remembered that the first time something like this happened, and he gestures to the white streak in his hair, which he pauses a second, pulls his hair down in front of his face because, yeah, there's the white chunk has in fact gotten bigger, and he pulls a face like, oh,
Yeah, that's part of your design. I can't actually stop that from happening.
no, no, I know this is from Mum. I know her. But I mean, I when it happened the first time when I came back, um, I don't really remember how I got back. I mean, your little kid thing memory kind of, at least for us mortals. I'd assume you know everything.
Oh, I have approximate knowledge of many things, yes?
Eh, good enough. Proximate is good enough for most things. But so how do I get back?
Well, that's where I do have to ask something of you. Your mom's already paid most of the toll for the train to come. And she kind of looks down the tracks as if she's waiting for something. But it doesn't
Mm.
come and she shakes her head. Yeah, your mom's already paid most of the toll for the train to come to take you back. But part of it has to come from you because it's your ticket.
Ah,
I'm not going to
yeah.
ask much from you. Certainly not as much as I would ask certain other people. And she kind of raises a hand and holds up two fingers. Two memories. One precious, one painful.
Okay. Okay. He leans back, thinks, and well, for the precious one, could give you the memory of the day Raven gave me my guitar.
If you'd like.
Okay. I think I have enough good memories of my dad. That one. That one's probably pretty good. Um, he thinks harder, thinks on the painful ones, and considers, because goes through a bit of an emotional journey on his face because there's a lot more painful memories than there are good memories, and thinks really hard. I'll offer you the memory of the deal gone wrong. That stupid Ram. Ugh, him. Like holds his hands like he's trying to strangle something, just furious. And he screwed me over, left me almost, ugh, got me thrown in jail. I'd like to forget him. Forget him in his entirety. That would be good. I could live without ever having known him.
Well, that's doable.
Like that.
You want to give him up?
Certainly.
I do warn you it could have consequences, but I think it would make an interesting plot twist.
I mean, he was one of the ones that murdered me, but knowing him, he'll probably get himself into something worse.
All right.
Sure.
So, one person and one moment. I think that's fair enough payment. And she clicks her fingers. And that same burning warmth that's been surrounding you with the illusory image of your wings, it's in your head now. And
Doesn't hold his head a little bit like, ooh, bad headache.
and you watch, or you sort of watch, as Retro reaches over and taps your eye and pulls from. And it feels weird, man. It feels like someone's pulling a string out from under your eye as she pulls out two strips of film. One
Oh, that's weird.
one is tinted a warm, nostalgic gold. The other dark red and purple and slightly drippy looking, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And she winds them around her fingers for a couple moments, looks them over, holds them up to the light, carefully watching through each frame. Before she pulls a pocket watch from her own pocket and snaps it open, and inside there is no clockwork, there is no hands, no numbers, no time. Inside there is only a burning, bright light. And she slips the strips of film in there and snaps the watch closed. And you can't remember what you've just given her. That moment is gone from your head. You know that you just gave a moment up, but it's gone. And what was the other thing you gave? It can't have been that important, right? You wouldn't have given it up if it was.
He pulls a face at that, like, that's. But shakes himself and resolves himself because, well, he had to give something up because in gambling, if you're gonna win, you have to take your losses in equal measure.
And
All right.
she holds out a hand for your hand.
He'll take her hand. Doesn't hesitate.
And she shakes your hand and then turns your hand over and lets go. And sitting in the palm of your hand is a golden train ticket. Golden afternoon line, departing from memory lane, returning to paradise.
Huh. I get the feeling I don't get to keep this as a souvenir.
She grins. Well, you might be surprised. The paper
I'll find out.
The paper will stick around. It'll just lose the whole magicy shiny bit.
I'll keep it. It's a good reminder.
And she kind of stands up from the train platform, brushes herself off, offers you a hand to pull you to your feet.
He'll take it and gets up and quirks a little grin as it really sinks in what happened, and also looks a little bit more like himself, a little bit more smug because he's there. He is a little bit cocky about the fact that he is taller than a god right now. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
And she kind of gives you that knowing look, like, yeah, I know. Do not tease me about it.
I won't say a word.
And in the distance, you hear a train whistle that is almost musical. And she smiles and says, oh, look, she's coming. Coming down the line. Well, she'll be here soon. I should not be here when she is. All that aside, good luck out there. Make it a good one. And she gives a very dramatic bow. And then she looks you in the eyes and says, seriously, good luck. And for the love of God, get changed while you're on the train. Goodness gracious.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
She winks at you. See you around, Jubilee. And then she disappears. And behind you, there's the rattle of train wheels. And a train unlike the silver ones that have been rushing past as you have been talking to this goddess pulls into the station. It's big, much bigger than any of the ones that have gone by, and it's done up in shades of gold and brown and bronze. The sides are painted with imagery of turning wheels and of clocks and of passing seasons. And it gives that same bright whistle again as it pulls to a stop in front of you. And the disembodied voice of Lady Retrospect says, all aboard!
Jubilee holding box tight to his chest and the ticket in his hand, steps on board. And one final thing that let's see just how many tries it takes him because this is buried a little bit deep in his hammer space. Oh, that's fitting. He almost doesn't get it. But while the train departs after he's found time to properly change, and we will drop a little thing in, he pulls out something that has gotten very dusty despite having been in hammer space for a while, but it's fitting because he hasn't pulled it out in a while. And it's a compass. And he holds this compass in one hand and takes his locket off. And he can keep the locket safe, and that goes up his sleeve. And he adjusts the chain to hook around the compass and ties that around his neck for the first time in a few years. As soon enough, he will arrive at his destination, and from there, who knows?
I do have one last note.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't remember stepping off the train. He remembers getting on. He remembers the ride out of memory lane, but he doesn't remember stepping off. Instead, he wakes up in the exact place where he died. And it's strange because it's like you were having a dream and then you fell out of bed. It's startling, not painful, but it's a startling awakening because suddenly you're on your feet somewhere you weren't before. And on your back is a pair of downy wings. No feathers yet, certainly not flight-worthy, but the start of something new.
He he sees it, he feels it first, and stops because he scrambles up from around the rubble that he woke up in, and he entirely heedless of the people around or the reconstruction that's started, just turns around in circles several times trying to see him, but he knows they're there. And Jubilee grins as wide as he can.
And I think that's
And
where we zoom out.
yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank
Noodle, thank
you.
you for indulging me in playing this.
Thank you, Gail.
Everybody say goodbye to our lovely listeners. Goodbye, listeners!
Bye bye.